Allah in the opening of Surah Maryam. It opens with Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, the Huruf Muqatta'at, and you and I know, we don't know what that means. But why put that there? One of the reasons you can think about putting that there is Allah is reminding us that He knows and we don't know. And He has wisdom we can never possess. He knows, He understands things that we can never understand. And when He plans the world the way He plans it, we see things happening in the world, we don't understand it. But the one who created this world and has the entire plan, He has knowledge and He has access that we can never have. Right? And when you see something in front of your eyes and you see it as a problem, like Zakaria alayhi salam sees that these were the Muslims of that time. They're not kuffar, they're the Muslims of that time. So he sees the Muslims of that time so corrupt, so lost, and he, even being a prophet of Allah, can't do anything about it. He seems to be helpless his entire life to be able to help these people to do any kind of reform among them. And now he's reached an old age and he doesn't see anybody who's going to take over. And he's going to be gone. What's going to happen to these people? The last voice that was there to speak the truth to them is about to die. And in that moment, he turns to Allah, and Allah describes, the opening is so remarkable, ذِكْرُ رَحْمَةِ رَبِّكَ عَبْدَهُ زَكَرِيَّا. This is a reminder and a mention of the rahmah, the loving care that your Rabb had towards his slave Zakaria. And that's confusing. Allah is saying in the beginning, Allah wants to remind you and me and His Prophet ﷺ that Allah was extra merciful and extra loving and caring to His servant Zakaria. But if you study the history, what do you think nowadays? What's our concept? If Allah is merciful to you, you make dua, Allah answers your dua. That means Allah is merciful to you. And if you're making dua and Allah didn't answer your dua, that means Allah is not merciful to you. It's our simple formula, because I say often, we've equated dua to Allah with Amazon delivery. So if it doesn't come, then clearly there's something, maybe the payment didn't go through, it wasn't accepted, maybe there's something wrong, Allah is not happy, that's why He didn't send it. He didn't give the answer to my prayer. Allah begins by saying, Allah wants us to remember until Judgment Day, in His final revelation, that Allah had a special rahmah for His slave Zakaria. The slave of Allah who was asking Allah the same dua over and over again for years and years, and in all of those years, he never got that dua answered. He never got that dua answered. So what the first lesson to learn here is your dua and my dua not being answered according to our timetable has nothing to do with the rahmah of Allah. It has nothing to do with the rahmah of Allah. And Allah wanted us to remember the rahmah He had for Zakaria forever. Now look at the frustration of Zakaria alayhi salam. Zakaria alayhi salam is among Muslims, and the vast majority of them are in deep corruption. He doesn't have any support system. Who's he going to You can complain about the kuffars and the believers. Who are you going to complain to about the believers themselves? Where are you going to go? Right? So he's in that state. And Allah says, إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. When he called upon his Rabb with a secret, silent call, he made sure nobody hears this dua. This is incredible. Now billions of people know this dua. Allah put it in the Quran. Now everybody knows it. But he made sure that his dua would be a secret. إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. Now what's amazing about that is one of the rahmah that Allah has given Zakaria alayhi salam. To this day, every time somebody is reciting the Quran and they recite Surah Maryam, who's getting the ajr? Who's getting the reward? And that dua he made in secret. No human being reported it. No historian knew about it. No, it's not in the Bible. It's not recorded in their books because it was a secret dua. He didn't tell anybody. And he only told Allah. This is a conversation between him and Allah. And Allah knows. Only Allah knows this dua. And Allah decided to take that secret between him and his servant Zakaria and publish it in the Quran for us to know until Judgment Day. And every time we recite this dua, his maqam goes up. This is Rabb Dhikr. This is Allah elevated him. So what does that mean? Maybe all those years, his pain. And in that moment of his death, when he was making this dua, his pain, in that time, he didn't even know that was the best moment of his life. Because that moment of his life was so beautiful, Allah put it in the Quran. It's so powerful, that moment. How would you know, and how will I know, Because people, when you ask, what's the greatest accomplishment of your life, you think of, well, I met the president, or I won this championship, or the day my business took off, or the day this happened, or that, major events in your life, right? And what people do with major events is they take a picture of them. They frame them in their house. They put them as the background on their phone, the wallpaper on their phone. This is the major event of my life. They wear it like a medal on themselves. And here you have, this man has this moment in his life, he wouldn't even know at the time, he wouldn't even know that was the most precious moment of his entire existence, even as a prophet. What is Allah teaching us through that? Allah is teaching us that my relationship with Allah, your relationship with Allah, it's nobody else's business. And we don't know which of our deeds are the most valued to Allah. Maybe there's even, inshallah, an inclination in this ayah to let us know that my private moments with Allah are the dearest ones to Allah. They might be the most precious ones to Allah. Because the public moments, everybody else can appreciate. But the private ones are especially only and only for Allah. Only and only. What an encouragement for you and I to take some time where nobody can see. You're at home, you're making salah, maybe your wife can see you raising your hands. Nah, not good enough. Not good enough. You got to be somewhere, nobody's around. And you're just having a conversation with Allah. You're just having a conversation. It's your nidah and khafiyya. You heard your beautiful Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam call on Allah secretly. It's just between him and Allah. You know what another meaning of that is? Whatever he was going to ask for, nobody ever heard about it. He didn't tell people, I asked Allah so many times, I tell Allah so many times this dua, and no, it's a secret dua. It's a secret, it's nidah al-khafiyya. Nobody knows about it. It's only Allah who knows about it. What's happened in the age of social media is we like to publish our pain. Right? So we want to make a meme about when you're asking Allah for relief and no one answers, we put a hashtag underneath sabr. Right? So we want to advertise our personal connection to Allah because it's something to promote in front of followers, right? Or even if you're not on social media, you have people that are making a dua and they're not getting the answer in time and they're talking to everybody about it. They're saying, I keep asking Allah, I don't know when it's going to come. I keep asking, where's the nidah khafiyya? How is this an intimate conversation between the slave and the master? Right? The beauty of that is being highlighted in just nada, nidah khafiyya. Now look at his words. He said, my bones, I'm going to translate as literally as I can. My bones have become so weak, they don't listen to me anymore. I'm going to add some words here in English so you understand the balagha of the Arabic. My bones have become so weak, they are no longer listening to me. Some of you guys play sports when you were younger, played basketball or whatever else, and then you turned 40. And then you're in your brain, in your mind, you're about to do a crossover, but your bones say, no, you're not. That's not what's going to happen right now. And it happened a lot quicker in your head. But the bones are starting to give away. But he's now describing my body is no longer complying. It's no longer cooperating with me. It's become so weak. My bones I can feel it. I can feel it within me, the weakness within me. Now, Allah knows his weakness more than he knows. He could have said, Ya Allah, you know. But actually, in the first thing he's saying, it sounds like he's complaining. Ya Allah, my bones hurt. Arthritis. Ya Allah, my back hurts. I have a hard time sitting down. Ya Allah, when I walk, I have to lean over. My bones don't comply. My knee hurts. I can't go up the stairs. Ya Allah, my hands are always in pain. I can't grab anything. You know? But he's turning to Allah and basically, look at the beauty of that. It's interesting. Another place in the Quran you find someone sharing their pain with Allah is Yaqub alayhi. Inna ashku bathi wa huzni ila Allah. Right? Yaqub alayhi. And notice that in these ayat, he's going to say, Yarithuni wa yarithu min ali Yaqub. He's going to mention Yaqub alayhi salam later on. He sees a connection between him and Yaqub because he doesn't. What's the connection? Yaqub alayhi salam went through a lot of pain. He's also going through a lot of pain. And this is what to speak of the bones. He literally says, my hair, it's as if a fire came and burned my hair and it's turned into white ash. Basically, he's saying all my hairs turn white. And he's comparing age with a fire that burns through and you only have white ash left. That's why isti'ab is used. So this is a really beautiful tashbih in this ayah, an analogy in this ayah, because of old age, my hairs all turned white. This is his way of saying, I don't have a lot of days left. Ya Allah, you know when I'm going, but it looks to me like I'm going. My body's kind of telling me it's time to go. They say in Arabic, shaybu ana'id. Your gray or whitening hair is the alarm that it's time to go. You know, back in the day, they used to have an alarm when there's a war coming, or there's a horn that gets sounded and the whole village wakes up. That's the na'id. Right? So they say when your hair is turning gray or turning white, and the horn has been sounded. It's time to go. Get ready. You know, like the troops have to march. So he tells Allah, but then he says the most beautiful part of all of it. He says, I have never been hopeless or miserable or depressed or negative or pessimistic. All of these are things of Shafiq. I have never been any of those things when it comes to asking you for something, making God. This is really confusing. He spent his entire life making dua for something. Allah didn't answer it. And he's getting old. He's about to die. Allah still didn't answer it. And he's saying, Ya Allah, never once did I feel negative about making dua to you and you didn't answer it. Never once have I felt depressed. Never once have I said, Ya Allah, Allah didn't answer my prayer. Now you have to ask yourself, we have to ask ourselves, what level of frustration do we easily get with Allah? Easily. When our dua isn't answered on us. He's surrounded by frustration. He's surrounded by it. Never with Allah. And it's not like he's not frustrated. He is frustrated. He's frustrated with his physical weakness. He's frustrated that he doesn't see a solution. But never does that frustration turn towards Allah. He says, Ya Allah, I'm telling you this, not because I'm complaining to you, because any negative emotion I've ever felt, it never incorrectly directs towards you. That never happens. So that's not going to be dua. Having said that, I do have some anxieties from people. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي. And the people that are associated with me, the people that are going to take charge after I die, the people that are going to take control of the masjid, this community, the people that are going to stand up and give the khutbah after I'm gone, I am afraid of them. I'm afraid of them. إِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي. I'm afraid of how much they're going to cause corruption. I'm afraid of how ignorant they are. I'm afraid of how arrogant they are. I'm afraid of how little they know, but they believe they know so much. I'm afraid of how they're going to cause division in this community. I'm afraid of their ulterior motives, their agendas. I'm afraid of their insincerity. I've seen it. I'm afraid of their ignorance, their arrogance. I'm afraid. What's going to happen? And he says, Ya Allah, and by the way, the solution to that would have been me having a child. And he says, but my wife was unable to bear a child from even when she was young. Ya Allah, I'm not complaining, but I'm saying the reality is, you didn't give me the child, and you didn't give me any of these scrubs over here that can rise to the occasion. And that's the situation I'm dealing with. So he says, look at what he said. And he said, I'm never going to be depressed. Now it looks like everybody around me is a loser, so they're not good enough for the job. I don't have a kid myself. What's the solution? Look at this. And he said he's never negative towards Allah. What does he tell Allah? He says, فَهَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. Then give me the gift from yourself of someone who will take charge. You find a way. I don't know, but you're the giver of all gifts. You're the Wahhab. So give me a gift. The word gift is also really beautiful here. It's an indication that he feels after all these years of making dua, he still doesn't act like he deserves it. He still understands Allah doesn't owe me anything. If even now Allah gives me, that will be a gift. Not because I deserve it. What's happened with us in dua? We make dua to Allah, and now all of a sudden, the dua, the answer to the dua, is almost an expectation from Allah that if Allah doesn't deliver, He hasn't met my expectations. Now, I did my part of the deal, where's his part of the deal? Wait, hold on. If this is your expectation, then it would not be a hibah in Allah. It wouldn't be a gift, because a gift is not expected. Unless you have some really crazy drama on you, he expects gifts. But gifts are not expected. Gifts are an unexpected thing. They're not earned. It's an unearned thing. He says, Ya Allah, I'm not entitled to it. But if you can just give me the gift of someone who will take charge after me. يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. He will inherit me, and he will inherit from the family of Yaqub. Now notice, Yaqub was surrounded by sons who gave him grief. And Zechariah is surrounded by a home that is giving him grief. And he says, I need someone like a Yusuf who rises to the occasion. Where's my Yusuf? So he says, يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. How beautiful. You know? And so even though the time for khutbah is up, just one more small thing I want you to remember from this. What did he ask for in this child that Allah will give, or this new wali that Allah will give him? What did he ask for in him? He said, وَجَعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. This is استئناف or اعتراض. وَرَبِّي اجْعَلْهُ رَضِيًّا. هذا هو ترتيب الكلام. ولكنه قال وَجَعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. Make him, my Rabb, please just make him Radi. And Radi means two things in Arabic. One thing it means, Ya Allah, make him someone you are pleased with. It doesn't matter if I see something in them or not, so long as you see their potential, that's good enough for me. Because sometimes Allah sees something in someone, we can't see it. So long as he's good by you, that's good enough for me. That's so long as they meet your expectations, because I have my own expectations, that's good enough. What's the other meaning of Rabbi? It actually means, Ya Allah, make him someone, no matter what happens, they stay content with you. You're content with them, but they also stay content with you. Like he himself, all these years, no prayer answered. He's content with Allah. Ya Allah, I need someone who can live in a frustrating situation, in difficult circumstances, but never do those circumstances impact their relationship with you. If that doesn't happen, they remain loving with you. They remain content with you. That's the kind of next generation I need. That's the kind of buddy I need. This beautiful, private, personal dua was recorded, and I believe one of the reasons this was recorded in the Quran is that this is the way we should be asking Allah for our next generation. This is what we should be asking Allah for our generation. Like, what are the qualities we want when we're gone from here? What qualities do we want our next generation to have? And if these are the qualities that they should have, it's not just going to happen on its own. We're going to have to develop a means, a system, in the family, in the masjid, among friends. We're going to have to develop a system. We create that kind of influence among our young generation so they grow up to be elite. They're growing up to be pleased with Allah and Allah is pleased with them. Like that's the benchmark of, okay, now I can die in peace. Now I can die in peace, you know? So this is something I want you to recite on your own. Even memorize these opening ayat. Very easy, very short ayat. كاف حاء عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله ربي بارك الله في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات